Wow, pretty good though for a guitar that's been sitting in the corner for a month. I think it's in tune. Good enough for rock and roll.
You try to hold on, wings of an angel, thinking you'll end up somewhere great. But it's not what it's all cracked up to be.
I'm not above like crashing on people's couches after shows. I'm not above being out on the road and meeting fans and accepting a home-cooked meal. I'm not the guy that hides on the tour bus or like sneaks back to the hotel. I'm there. I'm in it with people, and I've been that way for 30 years. So the day of the Grammy nominations came out, and I thought for sure this Eric Krasno record was going to be nominated. It made it to the final round, didn't quite get in, and I had 30 seconds of disappointment before I had ding on my phone and Instagram. Someone had tagged me, "Congratulations, Dave Gutter, on being nominated for a Grammy." It was actually my publisher, Max from Z-Town, and I was like, oh, he must have got it wrong. And then I looked, and it was for an Aaron Neville song I'd written 8 years ago that had been put in a movie soundtrack called Take Me to the River. And the movie soundtrack got nominated. Both my daughter and I didn't believe any of this was real. Even when I got the email saying, okay, you can go to the Grammys, but you had to pay for your +1. So they're asking for my credit card information. And I'm like, okay, they're trying to get my credit card information. The algorithm has sensed that I'm a starving artist and they're targeting me. And I honestly didn't believe it until we were actually there and it was actually happening. And I think my daughter was kind of the same way. It didn't seem real. I was texting her while she was working at Starbucks, like, I think we're going to the Grammys. And you know, there's lots of these things in music where you get really pumped up for an opportunity and maybe it doesn't pan out for what reason, or it does, it just ends up a little differently than your expectation was of it. This particular event panned out beyond our wildest dreams. It's at the Staples Center. I guess now it's called something else, but most people know it famously as the Staples Center in Hollywood. And I went there with my daughter. I brought my daughter. She was watching the Grammys when she was like 5 years old. And she was like, you do music, Papa? Like maybe someday when you go to the Grammys, you'll bring me. And I never thought it would actually happen. And I was like, of course I'll bring you. You'll go to the Grammys with me. And now she's 16. So I brought my daughter to Hollywood and we went to go to the Grammys. It was all very, very, very surreal. Oh, name drop. Yeah, we walked in. So I have to like fast forward a little bit to the real celebrity part because we won the Grammy. And then as soon as we won the Grammy, me and my daughter were like, where's the red carpet? Because we came in like a different way. We didn't go on the red carpet. We were like, we want to go on the red carpet. Where's the red carpet? So we went over to where the red carpet was and we showed them our passes and they were like, yeah, you guys aren't allowed in here. And I was like, all right, listen, I'm 48 years old. I've been making music since I was 8. This is my 16-year-old daughter. We're from a small town in Maine, and we just won a Grammy. And they gave us full passes to everything, to the after party, to the red carpet, to everything. We had the same passes that, Jay-Z had. And we walked in, and it's, Trevor Noah, the host, walked by us, and there was the big tribute to hip hop. So all of like the hip hop artists that I grew up listening to were there. Public Enemy was there, and Taylor Swift. Beyonce was actually late to the Grammys. I don't know if people that were watching saw that, but she was late, so we didn't see her in the pre-thing. But when we got on that red carpet with those passes, it was like we stepped into a television. I mean, I was even starstruck by the interviewers. Like, oh my God, that guy's from Entertainment Tonight. That guy's from TMZ. And then some people saw us on Entertainment Tonight in the line with all the famous people just walking the red carpet. We were like, our seat was like 3 rows from the front of the stage. And I turned to my daughter, I was like, I think I'm supposed to go up if we win. And as soon as they said the winner is, or the Grammy goes to, is what they say, as soon as they went, for Aaron Neville, as soon as I heard that A vowel, I was already up to the front of the stage. Everyone else, I had to sit there and wait. I had to wait because everyone else, the producer of the movie, the director, Aaron's manager, the producer of the record, Eric, they were all coming from the other side of the theater, and I was already at the stage. I was the first one up there. It was just straight euphoria. But yeah, it was the greatest moment of my life. I love being able to do music. And I was glad to show her that this is something that is obtainable. If you want to do this, if you want to be a professional athlete, if you want to go to space, whatever you want to do, you can do it. I've always believed this kind of stuff. I always say these kind of things. I'm always a very optimistic person. But this was showing my daughter firsthand that if you just go towards something with the drive and the ambition and the focus, that you can get it. So I thought that was a really important moment in the dynamic between a father and a child. There's things that you can tell your child to do, and then there's your actions. And now she's been playing bass ever since the Grammys. She was like, you know what? I want to play music now. And I've never pushed her toward it. I've always just been like, if you want to play music, let me know, because I like to make music and I play a number of instruments. But since then, she's started playing, and she plays like 5 hours a day. Like, she's going over the top. But maybe she gets that from me. So. Earlier on, I made a song called Loser of the Year. It's framed as someone being at a podium accepting an award for being a loser. But it's like, loser of the year, there's nothing I can do. The world has made it clear, I guess that I was born to lose. But it's like louder than that, but and much more dynamic. But the whole thing, it has one of my favorite lines. Let me show you my favorite line that I've written in the last maybe 10 years is, loser of the year, 5th year in a row. They didn't notice I was here until they wanted me to go. So the creative process for me is I've never had writer's block, because I have a formula there's no formula. And I approach songs from different directions, or I switch up the song. I'll stop what I'm working on if I feel a little tired of it, or if I feel uninspired by it. I'll just move on to something else and I'll come back to it. I think that where a lot of my inspiration comes is from the lyrics. To me, the lyrics are the dialogue to a movie. It's a conversation, and the music is simply the soundtrack and the mood for what that conversation is. But I'm always really connected to the lyrics. I love that's the human element. That's the conversational part. That's where you feel, where you're like, oh my God, that guy wrote. Have you ever listened to a song and been like, that guy wrote that song about a guy like me? Like, like that guy or that girl wrote a song, and she feels the same way I felt when I was heartbroken, or when I was happy, or when I was on top of the world, whatever. I got another one from my solo album that I made last year, which turned out to have, I did all these self-deprecating, beating myself up type of topics. It was a concept album about getting old, because And I wrote the whole thing when I got COVID the first time. I got COVID and I got all these phone calls from people, like people that I rode the bus with in like junior high school and stuff, were like, "Hey man, I heard you got COVID. I just want to let you know, I always thought you were a great guy and you're always nice to me." I'm like, whoa, slow down. Like, you sound like I'm going to die. And everyone thought I was going to die. So I started writing all these songs about my mortality. And I wrote Midlife Crisis. It all started with an argument, some dinner table politics. She asked about my day and I responded, it's not obvious. We're living in apocalypse and dying from the awkwardness. that line right there, to me, sums up the misinformation COVID area of my life. I put out a record of my own about once a year, but I don't oversaturate the world with my music. Like I was saying, sometimes I want my song to go as far as it can. So if another artist that's bigger than me can do my song, by all means, I want to see my song go live on. I don't need to be the star of the show. So I work every day at writing and producing for other artists, because it's a little easier, it's a little more fun than flipping it around and looking at yourself in the mirror. You're looking at someone else's life. There's a lot of hang-ups that aren't there when you're writing for someone else instead of writing for yourself. There's a lot of stuff that I write that's out there that a lot of people might not even know that I wrote, because I'm kind of like the guy behind the curtain, which is fun. The people that I met that were true legends always treated me as an equal, and they were always nice to me, and they were human. Yeah, I just think that remaining human, even though you're a musician, you can't be like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld and like kick everyone out and be mean to everybody. You have to appreciate you're giving me business. You're putting food on my table. You're keeping me in business. I've always taken the time to sit and talk with people. I love talking about music. So if a fan wants to sit and talk about music over a beer, I will sit there and I'll give them however much time they want. I'm still making music, and it's because of that relationship with fans. And every time I get another opportunity to keep doing this and I don't have to put cheese on a Whopper, I'm grateful. So I'm not going to act stuck up to those people who have made that possible.